Hello everyone, today I'm going to review Star Wars Labyrinth of Evil, written by James Luceno. So this novel is really interesting. I really enjoyed reading it, more so than the last one of the Dark Lord trilogy, so Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. I thought that Labyrinth of Evil was more entertaining, more suspenseful, more thrilling than Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. Although many people think the opposite, I think that Labyrinth of Evil is actually a better novel written by James Luceno. Not as good as the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, but still a very good novel. And what I really like about this book is that it really sets the tone for the downfall of Anakin and how he's going to transition from a Jedi to a Sith, because Grievous plays a major role in this book. And in the story, Grievous is given a background, a much better one, in my opinion, than the one we got in the Clone Wars canon series, in which, in my opinion, was kind of silly. You really get to know Grievous in this novel and why he hates the Jedi, and among many other things, you sort of like understand him, and he really makes the parallels for Darth Vader. Basically, Darth Vader has a lot of parallels and a lot of points in common with Grievous. Really, aside from the fact that he's a cyborg, there's also psychological reasons why Darth Vader and Grievous are similar. The pain that they feel, their bodies are a constant reminder of their failures, of their mistakes, and it's really fun to see the two dynamics. But really, what is also really interesting here is the fact that this novel is like a quest, like a pursuit, and a much better one than Dark Lord, because the pursuit here is the chase of Sidious. Sidious has been evading the Jedi for some time, and really a new piece of evidence has come into play in the story, and it's right in the beginning. It's that the Mechno chair was left behind by Newt Gunray, and it provides the Jedi a new sort of starting point to search for Sidious. And throughout the whole story, Sidious is basically evading the Jedi, but he's also adapting and making Newt Gunray's blunder into some kind of an advantage for him. He's basically luring the Jedi exactly where he wants them to be lured, but he also is able to accelerate his plans and set everything into motion for what will be the Battle of Coruscant. And of course, this novel is a prequel for Revenge of the Sith. It ends at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, and it's perfect in my opinion. I really enjoyed seeing Count Dooku being brought back into the story. And here, Count Dooku is really interesting because you really get into his mind and you really understand sort of his perspective. But what I really found interesting was that at some point, Count Dooku even thought about betraying Darth Sidious, which I thought was crucial to his character, because in the movies you never get the sense that Count Dooku wants to betray his master, which is odd because Count Dooku is a Sith, and any Sith remotely competent would at one point be tempted to overthrow his master, which is how the Sith evolve. And here you sort of get a hint of him pondering upon this idea. Although, of course, as we all know, because of the movies, he never actually gets to the end of it. But still, I thought it was interesting, make the character more complete and really cements his allegiance to the dark side. But I would like to focus once more on General Grievous and more specifically his backstory, because his backstory here in this novel really highlights the Republic's hypocrisy in dealing with conflicts and how it behaves. Because in this novel, really what is interesting is that you sort of understand how the Republic is corrupt and why so many people embarked into the Clone Wars, so many third parties embarked into this conflict, because the Republic really is flawed. And this is good because it would be really, it would have been really shallow to just put the Republic as the good guys who are clean and just perfect. But here they're really flawed, and this it's really crucial in making good character development, because General Grievous, although he was a terrible being from the start, he still was an honorable person who was a warrior, and he basically became more evil due to the fact that the Republic was negligent in resolving a conflict in which he was involved. So General Grievous is revealed to be a part of a species called the Kalish, who were involved in a war with the Hux. And the novel seems to entail that the Hux were the bad guys who were basically starting the conflict, and the Republic sided with them only because of economic interests, which is why General Grievous bears such a hatred for the Jedi, who were basically siding with the Republic and against his people. And it's really a crucial element, which is far better than the Clone Wars series we got in canon, where General Grievous is just a mindless idiot who just is evil for the sake of being evil. Here, you really understand his motives. And for me, this is one of the most important parts of this novel. And before we get to the invasion of Coruscant, which is excellent, it's the finale, I would like to highlight two segments of the book which I personally thought were not good, they were bad, but they, although not terrible, they were sort of the the few things I'm nitpicking that were bad about this novel is, for me, there's two segments of the pursuit that were sort of lacking. It was when Obi-Wan and Anakin get to the artist, Chi-Charian, I think that's how his species is pronounced. It was sort of kind of dull, the names were weird, and you don't really picture the world being realistic. Like, it's the world in where Anakin and Obi-Wan went to find the artist who was part of the ones who assembled the Mechno share was kind of, I don't know, odd, I would say. And also, although not as bad as this first segment, the second segment I found kind of dull was the pilot, the Twi'lek, which, I don't know, I just thought it was sort of dragging. I didn't appreciate it as much as I appreciated the one segment of the pursuit I found really interesting. In Sidious's pursuit was, of course, the pursuit in the works, the underneath the 500 Republica building. I thought it was really interesting, and really, for me, the strong points of this novel, aside from the ones I mentioned, was the finale, the invasion of Coruscant. For me, it's excellent because it sort of ties in, of course, to the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, but it's actually really good, and you sort of get the context, but also you get to understand why it's so important, because it stalls the pursuit of Sidious, as well as giving him the motives for the emergency acts that he enacts throughout the book, but also during Revenge of the Sith. Why so many people accepted the birth of the Empire, because they were scared. Aside from the action that is excellent and really dynamic, you really are thrilled throughout this segment of the book. And it gives us a really good climax and a very exciting ending. The only problem, and this is, I would say, the major problem, is the fact that there's a discrepancy between the Clone Wars animated series of the made by Tatarsky in 2003 and this novel, because it basically it shows the same thing, which is how Palpatine was captured, but it wasn't the same as in the 2003 Clone Wars animated movie, the two movie parts. They're not the same. Grievous, there's a Jedi, which I'm not going to mention, who disappears. The event don't play out the same way, although the environments are the same. There's fights between Maglev repulsor trains, but aside from the environment and sort of the setting, the rest is different. The characters are not the same. And what I found weird here in this novel is that, unlike in the show, in the 2003 Clone Wars series, you don't get to see how Grievous gets his voice damaged, why he is coughing. Because in the show, it showed is because Grievous was about to fight Mace Windu, and Mace Windu crushed his chest, which is why he coughs. But in this novel, which is supposed to be more complete, it doesn't show us how Grievous gets his coughing, which is, I don't know, weird in my opinion. But that's just another negative point. Aside from the fact that the main problem of this novel is the discrepancy, as I mentioned. But aside from that, really, this novel is excellent. It's fun. It's thrilling. The narration is perfect. The characters are very well developed. Of course, Anakin gets a bit of a dark side temptations here and there. You get to understand his frustration, but really the villains are much more explored, and it's just a fun ride throughout. So yeah, that's my review. I really recommend you to read it. It's much better than the Clone Wars series canon, which I'm not a big fan of, as you can tell. But really, just watch it. So I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Excellent novel. So yeah, definitely read it.